OmnuSians. I am OmnusI, here once again in my lair, and this is going to be a little bit different from regular Lair of OmnusI episodes. This time I am showing you something that I'm definitely hoping is going to demonstrate some real value in the gaming space. I say hopefully because I have no idea what I'm getting into. I at one point have talked about my experiences with subscription boxes and how I have changed my current subscription to a service called RPGCrate. Well, happily today is a day that I have received my monthly RPGCrate, and since these unboxing videos seem to be fairly popular, I thought it would be nice to do one for you. If you are on the fence or looking for one to do, goodness knows there's about 10 to 15 that cater primarily to gamers and role-playing gamers. So, while the rest of my family is roaming around the house, I just figured I'd slip down here and do this quick unboxing video. So, first of all, my first overview, the box itself. Efficient, well stuffed, it's solid. It's the same box they've been using, so they don't get crazy with extra nonsense. I'm not going to have any sentimental attachment to this box when I'm done. You can look at that as a plus or a minus if you wish. I know Loot Crate had all the different illustrations, you could fold them out, but then that just made you want to keep them, and quite honestly they started to pile up. So, opening we go. I don't play around with opening boxes. Alright, so, opening it up and laying first eyes on the inside. And here we go. Oh, interesting. Alright, the very first thing I see, there's a few cards here. But the first thing that pops into mind, and eye, are these foam dice. Six-sided dice. Multicolored, there's a whole veritable rainbow here. Each of them a separate die, which is kind of cool. That's a total of 7. White, red, green, blue, purple, orange, and yellow. Nice enough. I don't know how close to true they are, if, they need to be scale. As a matter of fact, the red one is miscast. It's actually one of the corners is unfortunately dented in. Looks like it was poorly cut. So, yeah, it's a slight downer. But these are just play dice. These aren't anything that I would use for my role-playing games. And they come with a card. Multifunction foam dice. Why foam? I'm glad you asked. Kaplow has dice. So, Kaplow, one of my favorite game accessory companies. Foam's lightweight, easy to transport, won't permanently cripple you. Most importantly, with a Sharp, you can fully customize them for your games. Here are some examples how we use the foam dice. So, honestly, the fact that the corner is dented isn't as critical. These can also be used as markers, which is a good idea and probably how I would want to use them. As a status indicator, red is bloodied, white invisible, blue flying, yellow prone, orange marked, green poisoned, purple charmed. Flight altitude measured by which number is facing up on the die. Unit or group organization in terms of order, initiative, and things like that. That's a very clever thing. And a useful prop. Certainly nothing I would have gone out and gotten for myself. I'm certain that I can find some use for that. Excellent. Also, RPGCrate presents Ladies' Night. That's the theme. So, hero shirt. We're not going to go over that because it details everything that's inside, and I'd rather see them first. So, the shirt is one of the first things you see, and oh, I do love this shirt. Immediately they know how to win me. First of all, a black t-shirt so that I don't look as large as I am. Never a bad thing. Be your own hero, and it has dice. Wonderful shirt. I hope that it fits. It certainly looks large enough. And I haven't been at all disappointed by the prior shirts, which I found were excellent. quite honestly. And of course, if you paid any attention to my channel, you know what a fan of dice I am. My dice file game and everything else in my collection. So I love this shirt. I really do. And again, it feels solid, not cheaply made. It's got 2 arms, instead of 3 like a misfunction or anything like that. It's solid. And it is made by District, the concert tee. So, yeah, 100% cotton shirt. I like it. I like it a lot. Quite honestly, one of the constants that it seems with the subscription boxes that I've had is that they have excellent taste in shirts. I have only had one shirt that was less than ideal, and that was just because of problems with its manufacturing. Alright, we have a hit location die. I've seen these used before. I've never purchased one because, quite honestly, I rarely find distribution to be ideal in a single die. I prefer bell curves for larger parts of the body having a higher priority of being struck in a blow. My ideal has generally been the one used in GURPS, where the torso has the majority of the chance, the limbs then have the next largest chance, and finally a smaller target like the head, or where even the eyes are able to be hit. But if you are just interested in doing something really quick and to the point, 12-sided die with all the different locations of the body, the hands, the arms, the feet, the legs, the torso, the chest, the head, and did I see something? The stomach, and full body. So, a nice die. Again, I wouldn't have purchased this myself. It's kind of nice to have. I never mind having extra dice. And there are certainly plenty of games where realism is just out the window anyhow, that having a die like that can be really useful. It could also be very useful for me playing more abstract games that don't have hit locations, like, say, Dungeons and Dragons. If I'm having trouble, creatively coming up with a description of where a blow lands, I now can just roll this and describe how that 13-point blow cut into their left foot. If it's a token monster, then I'm not worried about how badly it may be handicapped. 13 points to something that has, say, 35 points. Left foot, you chop off its foot. It's got to stumble around. It may have a secondary effect that now it's permanently slowed, which I can quickly denote, but that'll help my narration. So, again, I don't mind that at all. Excellent. Next, from Effin' Cool Miniatures, their Fifth Wall Fantasy line, we have an excellent warrior lady with a pair of axes. I haven't taken any of these out of the sleeves yet because my painting backlog is so great. But I do like that the detailing on it is excellent. This is appropriate medieval armor, not cheesecake female fantasy armor. She looks like she's wearing a suit of scale mail, possibly banded. There are banded plates on her arms. It could be banded armor, I suppose. Greaves protecting her legs. She's very sensibly dressed for battle. You also don't often see people using a pair of hand axes as weapons, which will be very nice for adding a little bit of difference between this character and others. She has a wonderful helm with ram's horns in a curl, and both of the axes end in wicked butt spikes at the base of the handle. She has a cloak on. I'll give you one more look at that. It's, like I said, I'm very, very impressed. These Effin' Cool Miniatures have not disappointed in the ones that I've seen so far. Now, we come on to the next bit. Now, last box I opened, I got several panels of these token critters. And generally I prefer three-dimensional miniatures in anything I do. At the same time, it can be nigh impossible to find some for the various creatures. They keep putting out with more and more manuals, especially with third-party companies and the like, and finding miniatures that match exactly can be very difficult. I see that all of these are trademark Paizo, so I'm guessing all of these monsters are for their Pathfinder game system. They're all numbered and everything, so since I don't use Pathfinder myself, I can tell you that there's some unsettling looking creatures in here. I'll show you the panels. This one with an elephant gone crossed with a alligator is truly frightening. The thing that looks like a Venus flytrap mated with an entire catalog of weapons and traps is also disturbing. So I do not mind these token standouts. I don't use them often, but I would certainly rather have something with at least a picture on it to represent a creature that I plan on using than not having anything or having a stand-in that does not look like it. They also give one large base and 3 small bases. If they keep doing this through RPGCrate, I'll eventually have a very nice collection. And someday if I decide to go into Pathfinder, I'm already pre-armed. That's not a bad thing. In addition, we also have the customary 3 quick hit single front and page, front and back, nice little one-shot adventures, a very short little adventure thread. One thing I like about it is it's created by these folks from RPGCrate, so they're exclusive to them, but they also tie in with the subject of their crate. For instance, the miniature that we have, the warrior lady with the axes, she also shows up in the illustration for one of the adventure scenes, which is a plus. Tying in things like that, it's a wonderful idea. These are collectively called the Tales from the Bloody Bucket. The Bloody Bucket is the hub tavern that the characters begin their adventure and pick up the quests. And I find them to be alright. I generally don't lack for short little adventures to tie in with my campaign. So I don't have a great use for them, but there's certainly, if you're looking to do an introductory adventure or you're looking for a quick hit to inspire you for maybe a convention one-shot or something like that, they're invaluable. And with the full color look, and with a neat little map printed out on each one, they are high quality, high class. Yet another thing that I like about these RPG crates. They're well made and well designed, and generally they're going to be an asset. There's going to be something that someday I will use. And then finally, for Dungeon Crawl Classics, we have Bride the Black Manse. A full-on module, which, as this is an unboxing, I haven't had a chance to open up and read. However, just looking at the outside of the cover, it's the 82nd of the Dungeon Crawl Classics Adventures for level 3 characters, featuring the groom Mammon, who is a demon, been a demon prince in AD&D for quite a while, biblical reference and everything. The bride, Lady Ilse, and the Emerald Cobra in a bonus adventure, Blood for the Serpent King by Edgar Johnson. So, looks like there's quite a bit of meat to that adventure. Just looking through it really quickly, one of the things and I will admit again, I don't do Dungeon Crawl Classics at this stage. My collection is pretty tied down with Dungeons and Dragons and many of the offshoots that were inspired by Dungeons and Dragons I just haven't delved into. So, just flipping through it really quickly, as I'm not going to read it out to you, it looks like a nice adventure. And one of the things I truly love to see in an adventure, when it's got panels of illustrations. Absolutely wonderful. I've loved those. I've fallen in love with those ever since I first read The Tomb of Horrors, and you have the entire end set that is just full of all the illustrations that really makes that adventure. If they've got something like that in here, that makes me a bit happier. Of course, Dungeon Crawl Classics, heavily reliant on the open content from Wizards of the Coast, which is not... I've come to appreciate those kind of games a bit more, for a couple of reasons. I understand the passion that the people who make those games bring to their product. A lot of them are interested in playing their way of playing the old school game rules with a particular spin, or just interested in putting out more content, since their host company, Wizards, has gone on in their own direction in 5th edition, which may not scratch the itch of those people who crave products like Dungeon Crawl Classics, or Swords and Wizardry, or Labyrinth Lords, or games like that. So, and also one other thing I can appreciate is that they're relatively easy to translate to, say, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. If I ever do decide I need a module, I will certainly digest this. I'll read through it and see what I finally think. But the fact that I'm getting a full a module, normally selling for about $10, is a genuine plus. Also, at the bottom, another thing that I've come to love about these RPG crates, another sheet of peel apart foam for packing up my miniatures, which is most appreciated. So, that is the crate. As far as parceling it out, as far as value and everything, the pull apart stuff is probably about $1 a sheet. So that's nice. $10 for this. Again, each of the bloody buckets would be about $3 each, I would say, so almost another $10 there. I know that these sheets for the Paizo miniatures aren't inconsequential. It's 2 sheets with stands. So depending on how much use I get out of those, could be alright. The extra die, these things are $5 to $10 for a full die. That's a specialty die. I'd say that's about appropriate. A miniature like this in pewter, or whatever they make these out of these days, I'd probably consider paying about $5 for this. Maybe even a little bit more if I was looking for a character. This fit a particular character concept of mine. And I must say, I'm already thinking about a couple based on just her looks. Two-handed weapon fighting in 5th edition can be pretty serious. Giving you that extra attack early on and opening up your horizons. The foam dice, I can get these out of in front of those little vending machines. You put 50 cents in, you turn it, and you can have one of these spit out. There's a reason why I wouldn't normally get them. They aren't very useful as dice. As using them as counters, it was something I didn't think about, and it's a good idea. And I guess it's not a bad thing to have them. I think my son is probably going to get more out of it than I am, but I'm glad that they went and looked at alternate ideas and different things that they could supply. And also, let's see, looking real quick, the hero shirt, yes. Oh yeah, the shirt. I love the shirt. I would easily pay $10 for that. Probably I'd even go up to $15 at a con or something like that. It fits me perfectly style-wise, so love it. Thank you, guys. The exclusive metal miniature, she is cool. Rosario Badax, she's called. That's a good name. The foam dice, multifunctional foam dice. They're dice. they're fine. The hit location die by Kaplow again. I'm fine. I'm glad to have it. Like I said, I already think of how I'm going to be using it. The Three Tales from the Bloody Buckets adventures, I'm good with. The Pathfinder pawns. These are full sheets that were randomly selected from the NPC Codex. I don't think those are NPCs, guys. I think those are full-on monsters. Unless the NPC Codex is full of monsters. But honestly, I don't really need any NPCs. I'm glad that they didn't give me sheets of NPCs. I'm glad I got monsters. The module, Bride of the Black Mance. I'm collecting a library of modules. I certainly don't mind having another one. And then, like I said, that one looks pretty nice. The Dragon Foam on the bottom I like. They did not load this full of digital content that I don't use. I appreciate that. I know some people like having adventure music and digital books and everything. I hate reading on digital. I don't have a lot of digital books myself, so I wasn't using that. And as far as the adventure music, I already have my resources and a rather large library. So, yeah, we're good. I'm actually really quite happy with this, and I can't wait to show this to my family. And there are things immediately that I will be using out of this, so I'm very happy. And the things that I don't immediately use, I'm fairly certain that I will find a use for them down the road. The idea of being able to hold a large pile of critters in a small sack makes these token creatures quite useful, and all the little module adventures and tips and hints and tricks that come with those will hopefully inspire me for something in the future. So, I believe I got my money out of this. It's a good value. All kinds of neat things. I am OmnusI. Once again here, and glad I could show you my unboxing. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you next month when I will most likely be doing this again. Thank you.